Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Culture Report. I'm Jamal Simon.
I'm DeMarco Randall.
And I'm Antonia Velez.
And we got a whole lot to get into, including some big news. Well, I guess big news for me, not for y'all. Sorry, but yeah, we'll talk about that.
You'll have to wait till the end.
But first, we got to get into some misinformation.
I would call it that for sure.
Yeah, that's been making national headlines.
For sure. All right, now claims that a Venezuelan gang has taken over apartment buildings in Aurora have made national headlines. Now, Aurora residents are speaking out, saying that not only are these claims exaggerated, but that how people are reacting to the claims is putting their livelihoods at risk. Geraldine Masso and Mario Valoria are tenants at one of these buildings that are being talked about. They said despite having their work permit, the gang allegations have made it hard for them to get a job. Masso and others also said they haven't felt threatened by gang members, or anyone else for that matter, until recently. Some tenants claim they've received threatening text messages and seen hateful signs posted around the building because of the gang allegations.
Queremos que escuchen nuestra voz para limpiar nuestra imagen de todas esas cosas que están diciendo. De que somos personas malas, de que somos pandilleros, cuando realmente no es.
These are all tenants of buildings owned by CBZ Management, an out-of-state company. Residents said living conditions are horrendous with cockroaches, bedbugs, and rodents. And some people say CBZ Management are using the gang theory as an excuse to not clean up the properties. The company blamed the deteriorating conditions on the supposed takeover of a gang. However, the city of Aurora has said it was a result of years' worth of dangerous code violations and issues with property management. CBZ is the same company that owned a building that Aurora shut down last month, saying conditions made it uninhabitable. Now, I've been out there myself. I talked to Geraldine, Mario, and then Iriani, who was a tenant at that building I referenced at the end, which is in Nome Street in Aurora. And it's just really sad to see that these allegations that are being thrown at them, how they are being affected by these claims, job-wise, the hateful messages that they're getting. It just, I can only imagine the fear that you might feel from being ostracized by the community.
Yeah. I think one of the main things that came to my mind immediately was the people coming into these communities, Since this huge national media attention has been on this, there's been a lot of people from outside of the community that are coming into it. And I think that's a big thing that's scaring those residents.
Yeah, and I actually learned about this story just scrolling on social media or something. I was like, Aurora, Colorado, what? I was like, this is insane. I was like, I work here. It happened during my weekend, so I was just like,
dude, people from back home in Colombia, they were sending me links of videos and articles, and there was a claim that I know was circulating around that, the Hells Angels were coming to Aurora to kind of combat the gang. That has been all debunked. But even within conversations that I had with Geraldine and Mario yesterday, they referenced the motorcyclists and they were like, we hear about this too. Yeah. Imagine being part of that community that's who is receiving all of these allegations and being like, I'm seeing these things on social media about us. That must be terrifying.
It's people will take something and run with it. Like you said with the Hells Angels, they were posting videos of all the motorcycles rolling in from either they were from years ago or they were from a different country. It was this stuff isn't true. And I feel like whether this is true or not, I was I don't think people really cared. It became national news because I don't know why people like to demonize people. I'm like, these are just families here.
I know.
The people that we saw out there, I don't want to say protesting, but just speaking out about what was going on. It's you need to take a look at the people that it's impacting.
Totally, and it's not just the adults that are speaking out. These are families. They have children who are in school. I can imagine what it would do to a child who, is in school hearing their classmates or knowing that their classmates' parents might be talking about, the apartment building that they live in or accusing their families of potentially being in a gang. That can be super, super harmful. In the conversation that I had with Mario and Geraldine, they mentioned some signs that were posted around Denver that were racist and anti-migrant.
Which is a part of the impact that it has on people. So a Republican activist and self-described street artist who only goes by the name Sabo says that he was motivated to post these racist signs at bus stops across Denver because of those reports of violence from Venezuelan gangs in Aurora. So he told 9 News that he has been contacted by Denver police who are investigating the signs as a possible bias-motivated crime. Now, Denver's police chief says that at the very least there could be city charges for illegally posting the signs on public or private property. He also took credit for identical signs posted outside of a fried chicken restaurant near the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, and he also told us that he plans on putting up more of them.
And we're less than a week away from the presidential debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. This is going to be in Philadelphia. This isn't the first debate of the 2024 election cycle, but it is the first debate since Biden passed the torch to Harris to become the Democratic nominee. The vice presidential candidates Tim Walz and J.D. Vance are set to have their debate on October 1st.
And speaking of debates, there's a pretty big one going on within Colorado's Republican Party. People just can't seem to agree on whether Chairman Dave Williams should stay or go. Pressure to oust Williams started ramping up in June after he signed an email attacking Pride Month and the LGBTQ+ community. After a restraining order preventing a vote to remove Williams was rescinded, one faction of the party finally voted to oust Williams and replace him with El Paso County GOP Chair Eli Bremer. But 1 week later, supporters of Williams held their own gathering and voted to keep him as chair. Williams has said the meeting to oust him was illegal. Bremer has said the same thing about the vote to keep Williams. The end to this debate will likely be in the hands of the Republican National Committee. And in the midst of political turmoil following Venezuela's contested presidential elections, a judge issued an arrest warrant for Edmundo Gonzalez, the former presidential candidate for the governing party's opposition. The warrant accuses Gonzalez of, quote, crimes associated with terrorism. This is all part of an investigation regarding the election results. Current President Nicolás Maduro claims he won the vote, but the opposition insists Gonzalez did, and posting voting tally sheets online that appear to back up that claim. The electoral body has still not published tallies to support its claim that Maduro won. And the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken left his latest trip to the Middle East without a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. Blinken said Israel had agreed to bridge gaps with Hamas, but the militant group said it was a, quote, reversal of what it had previously agreed to. The existing pressure to reach a ceasefire increased even more after 6 Israeli hostages were found dead in Gaza. The deaths sparked protests across Israel as thousands urged Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to reach an agreement with Hamas, many blaming him for stalled negotiations. This week, President Joe Biden said his administration will soon propose a final ceasefire and hostage proposal. He spoke with reporters briefly on Monday, saying he did not think Netanyahu is doing enough to reach a deal.
And California lawmakers passed some of the nation's most ambitious legislation named at atoning for a legacy of racist policies that drove disparities for Black people. This includes everything from housing, education, to health. And none of the bills would provide widespread direct payments. Instead, it would allow for the return of land or compensation to families whose property was unjustly seized by the government. They would also issue a formal apology for laws and practices that have harmed Black people. Stunning. However, protests have since erupted in California after lawmakers left out 2 bills that would have created a fund and an agency to carry out the measures. Legislators say that proposals just need more work. And global sensation Sabrina Carpenter, who no doubt gave us the song of the summer, Espresso, is subject of debate among some of the queer community following the release of her new album, Short and Sweet. Some are accusing her of pandering to gay people just to sell records. So we got our first taste of this in the music video for her new single when she made out with actress Jenna Ortega. Then again when she said the Lord forgot her gay awakening in one of my favorite tracks, Slim Pickens. And once more in the bonus track for Busy Woman, where she takes rejection very poorly by saying that she'll deem a man gay if he's not interested in her. That's the one thing that people are like, I don't like that. I don't like that much, very much. And in her defense, y'all, listen. First, I have to say, I've been on the Sabrina Carpenter train for 7 years. We're going to get into that because some of y'all are trying to say that she's an industry plant, but that's neither here nor there right now. Give me 2 seconds. However, people are mad at, like, okay, I'll deem you gay if you're not interested in me. Like, yes, okay, I don't think she's serious, too. She's not saying that gay is a bad thing. She's just saying, like, oh, I'm the it girl. Like, I'm that girl, so you must not like women. That's
Yeah.
She's delighting in her own delusion that everyone wants her. So if anything, it says that she's delusional, but I don't think that it says that she's homophobic by any means.
Right. I can see why some people might be like, oh, why would you say that?
I feel like it's because it might be like a female artist saying it rather than like a male artist saying like, if a female doesn't like me, then she must be lesbian or something. You know,
Maybe.
like,
Taylor Swift did something similar. She changed the lyrics. Sorry, yeah, my eyes, I'm getting, my eyes are burning.
Oh,
But
no.
Taylor Swift said something similar, like in an old song where she was like, oh, I'll tell mama you're gay or something like that. And like,
And then she changed it years later. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess here's the thing. I understand why people have their qualms with these comments and with all of the kind of queer baiting, as social media is labeling it.
Thank you. No, thank you so much. Thank you. Help. Because
Should
literally,
we
I'm
pause?
dying.
Are you okay?
No, we're good. I need to talk. I just get really passionate about Sabrina. No, my eyes just started burning. But however, back to the matter at hand. I understand why, because I feel like a lot of people know that, you know, queer people, we listen to music, and if we want you to get to number one, I promise we're gonna fight to get you to number one. But I don't know. I think Sabrina's just down. I feel like she's down. Honestly, I enjoy it. I feel seen when I hear me. I mean, like, whenever she shouts out anything gay, I'm like, go for it, girl. Yeah. Go off. I know a lot of people won't agree with me on that, but go off. I feel seen. I love it. She feels like an ally.
Well, that's good. Did you enjoy the album?
I love the album. I loved the album. Oh, back to what I said. Okay. So everyone's saying Sabrina, oh, she's just an industry plant and she's just calling out the gay people just so she can sell records and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, homegirl has been doing this for a decade. She has been making music for a decade. Just because you just hopped on the Sabrina train a couple months ago, don't try to discredit her hard work. Okay, if y'all want, email me. I'll give you a good playlist. But I think that she's awesome. She's always been an ally. She's always rocking a pride flag.
That is true. That's
like,
the
what
thing.
are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, don't try to attack the people who are down for us and the people that really do the most to, like, for the cause, for the people.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm into it. Love you, Sabrina. You're the best. Icon, legend.
that's
Keep
so
it up.
important. That is.
Keep it up.
And the Paralympics are wrapping up this week in Paris. There are around 4,400 athletes, and 1,983 of them are women, which is a record. These athletes represent 168 countries. And when it's all said and done, there will have been 22 individual and team sports played. However, that's not always been the reality. The broad array of sports is a testament to the growth of the Paralympic Games. 1960 is considered by most to be the first ever Paralympic Games. Some 23 nations took part, sending 400 athletes, all in wheelchairs, to compete in 8 different sports. During the 64 and 68 games, sports like women's wheelchair basketball and powerlifting made their Paralympic debuts. It's not until the 5th Paralympic Games in '76 that amputees, along with athletes with visual impairments, were able to compete. That's only after campaigning for the right to participate. These games were also important due to the progress in media coverage. 1980 and 84 led to more barriers being broken when athletes with cerebral palsy were allowed to compete, and the expansion of games like sitting volleyball and goalball are added into the mix. From then until the early 2000s, more strides are made. In 1989, the International Paralympic Committee is founded, and during the '96 Paralympic Games in Atlanta, more history is made. 56 athletes with intellectual impairments are allowed to compete in athletic and swimming events alongside those with physical and visual impairments. And in 2001, the IPC and the IOC signed an agreement guaranteeing from the 2008 Games onward, the Paralympics would always be held shortly after the Olympic Games and use the same venues. In Beijing, para-rowing was added, bringing the total number of sports to 20. Media coverage was increasing at this time. 5,800 accredited journalists covered the games, which were broadcast in 80 countries, totaling 3.8 billion views. And the Paralympics have not looked back since introducing more innovative games from para-canoeing to para-badminton. And in 2012, the games finally crossed the 4,000 athlete milestone, which they've maintained to this day. The term Paralympic Games was only officially used and approved by the IOC from the Games in 1984. From 1960 to 1980, they were known as the International Stock Mandeville Games.
That's awesome. And now let's hop into our good news of the week. Cuenta Conmigo, a cooperative based in Jefferson County, is trying to raise awareness about breastfeeding resources that families can access regardless of their immigration status or health insurance. The group says many Hispanic parents who might want to breastfeed don't do so because of linguistic barriers and lack of access to information. This Latinx Breastfeeding Week, held from September 3rd to September 9th, the co-op is holding events to educate the community, share experiences, and make connections. You can find more information in Spanish and English on 9news.com.
And switching over to the WNBA, star rookie Angel Reese. She set another rookie record this season. Reese became the single-season rebound leader, and she also set the record for the most double-doubles in league history by a rookie. Both times she passed WNBA great Tina Charles, and Reese still has 7 games to add on to her totals.
Shout out Angel Reese. All right, the Forest Service in Colorado just started putting up signs in Spanish at popular trailheads. They say it's to make the hikes more inclusive to the state's ever-growing Spanish-speaking population and to get more people to follow the rules and take safety precautions. I never thought about this because it's like, how can you follow the rules? How can you stay safe if you don't understand the language?
Absolutely.
So totally makes sense. Shout out. And they were talking about the communities they were putting up in. Like, people don't think about it, but some communities in Colorado are like nearly 50% Spanish speaking. So shout out, iconic. Speaking of not being able to follow the rules if you don't know the language, that's about to be me in a week because y'all, I'm taking my first international trip.
Yay!
Yay!
Jamal!
I'm going to Berlin. I'm going to Germany. It's going to be a lovely time. I'm very
Stamping that passport?
nervous. Yes, I'm hours away. Hours away. By the time y'all are watching this, I'll probably be on a plane. The flight is so long. I have a layover in Ireland, and then I'm going to Berlin, and I'm meeting my friend.
That's so exciting.
What are you most looking forward to?
I know nothing about Berlin. I'm just going to meet my friend. It's like I know nothing about the city, so I can't wait to bring back so many stories and fun. Do you guys know anything that I should know? Have any tips?
I mean, the brats are good. The beer's good.
I don't eat meat.
Oh, well, neither do I.
I don't drink beer.
Okay, well, the pretzels are good.
Is the pretzels?
Allegedly.
Okay, I will have a pretzel. I will take a picture of me eating a pretzel for next week.
I love that. I love that.
That's it?
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend doing some research maybe during your layover.
No, I'm
You're
just
just
gonna
gonna
go
wing
for
it?
the vibes. Yeah, and I'll take a picture. It'll be me and my friend Yasha. He's gonna take me around. We're gonna do some touristy stuff.
I love
He's
that.
asking me if I also want to go skydiving, and I'm like, you want me to die in Germany? And
Oh my God, you should.
I shouldn't though.
You should.
I'm not jumping out of a plane. No, we're not doing that.
Okay, fine.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining this week's Culture Report. We'll be back to continue the conversation right here on 9 News Plus and 9news.com.